Good evening. I'm Site Director McCallahan, and today we're going to be looking at our next SCP in the Face Your Fears anthology. It's a very interesting one, I believe, and I think you'll enjoy hearing about it just as much as I enjoyed reading it. Today, we'll be looking at SCP-8906, Object Class, Thaumiel. Let's begin. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-8906 is contained at its location of origin, in the cellar of what is now Provisional Site 14, under the supervision of Acting Director Crowhurst. SCP-8906-1 is to be performed unceasingly, previously daily, previously weekly, previously bi-weekly. Description: SCP-8906 is a life form of uncertain origin. It consists of a black fleshy main body with 3 thick tendrils supporting its mass on the ground, a smaller 4th tendril on its back, and an uncertain number having metastasis throughout the structure, having grown into the walls and ceiling. As such, its precise size is unknown. Polyps of the entity protrude from various surfaces in the building and bear a superficial resemblance to carrion crows. Through unknown mechanisms, the growth of SCP-8906 has a clear correlation with efficiency of Foundation operations in the United Kingdom. SCP-8906-1 is a brief play written by Joseph McIntyre, a former occupant of Provisional Site 14. It is a pastiche of traditional Mask, depicting the plight of a group of farmers during a drought, upon which an entity referred to as Archon, believed to be representation of SCP-8906, descends from the heavens and provides them with its favor in exchange for their amusing it. McIntyre believes the performance of this play would encourage growth in SCP-8906, and thus his own wealth and power. Tests to verify are ongoing. Addendum 1. Transcript of SCP-8906 Performance. Prologue. Begin. Lead role. He should be mature, virtuous, with a fair complexion and of strong blood, infinite in faculty, a paragon of masculinity. A figure of authority within a powerful body would suffice. Perhaps a director. An acting director is undesirable. Our star clears his throat and shifts atop the stage.
These are black, hollow times in which we find ourselves. The world tends even further towards chaos as men forgot their morals, their places, their hearts, and lose their discipline. This black planet takes and takes and takes, and we can never rest. Should it take everything? And it is for that reason that we are so grateful to you. For that reason that we honor you, for we see what you have done, and we desire that for ourselves, and in your infinite grace you may see fit to grant us it. And it is for that reason we celebrate you and all you are and all you can be, and indeed there will be time for you to bless us so.
Exit Archon. Scene. Addendum 2. Security feed. Cellar. SCP-8906 is in the center of the room, forcing its way out of the concrete floor and reaching up to the ceiling. Black tendrils extend to the top of its mass, snaking through the room and twined into the tops of the wine racks. Crow-like polyps grow out of them at irregular intervals, fluttering and shivering, occasionally making groaning noises akin to bird caws. Crowhurst walks into the room, stopping at the top of the stairs, and looks up at SCP-8906.
Hi.
The polyps shudder, croaking. Crowhurst starts briefly, but regains his composure and begins to make his way downstairs. As he reaches the concrete, he stops and takes a few seconds to fully survey the room.
Sorry, the other guy will be coming back. Not his fault, you understand? But it had to be done. Procedure. I'm in charge now. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
SCP-8906 pulses and quivers, Crowhurst hesitates and starts walking slow laps around its main body.
To be perfectly honest, we don't really know if you're sapient. My predecessor definitely thought you were. But we try to be rather more methodical about these things. It's not impersonal.
He chuckles to himself.
We are trying to figure it out, though. Some of the staff have even started a pool. Odds are pretty much even at the moment. I'll put a 5 on you being sentient, obviously. Mind you, if you want to give us some pointers either way, we'd very much appreciate it. Not that I'm asking. The fella here before worshipped you, you know. I suppose you'd like that. I imagine most people would, whether you're a person or not. I mean, I suppose if you are a god, it'd be pretty galling to be considered just a person. Depending on what sort of god you are, maybe. I suppose the whole point of being a god is that we can't tell if you are or not. Not that it matters in the end. We all know where Pascal put his money, at any rate.
He shuffles up to SCP-8906's central mass and raises his hand.
I try not to gamble, to be honest. Best not to mess with things you don't really grasp.
He drops his hand to his side.
Be safe than sorry.
He turns and leaves. End log. Addendum 3. SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 1. The ballroom must be dark as coal, silent. The floor should be covered in dust and soil, old and dry. Enter 5 men, ideally played by lowly junior researchers. They should wear ragged suits and a dark mask, that in the gloom they almost appear headless. None in the play should know any other's countenance. Their head, a once proud farmer, takes center stage. He stands, but low, head bowed, shoulders tight and clenched, while his weak compatriots wail and crawl around him.
Now this summer, we are disconsolate, for fallow fields run barren, fatigued is an old maid, whose late years take cruel tilths from her diminishing harvest. She is left cold, as are we all, in this blackest cursed night. What can we do? Starve ourselves for family? Must a man go without to shave his own? I would behead myself to save one hair, but what world is this to bear fatherless? Would I merely cause them further injury? No, I do not believe it. We will live. From this rotten ground we will grow anew, for we worship one kind, gracious, and strong, who breathes in life into rotten, gruesome soil, into rotted souls to purify them. But will he come here, to us worthless ones? No, I think not. No.
At this point, the other men should moan violently and come together, clutching one another, dragging one another around.
Fools have some dignity. We are not children, we are all good men. Know your worth. This world is yours, if only you have the heart and stomach to take it.
Addendum 4. Interview with Wesley McIntyre, former owner of Provisional Site 14. Forward. McIntyre was the only person in the building at time of recovery. He was discovered in the cellar, lying across SCP-8906's tendrils. Begin log. Crowhurst saunters into the library, repurposed as a detention room. He nods to each of the helmeted guards, then sits at a table between 2 bookshelves, planting his coffee mug on the table with slightly too much force. On the other side is a handcuffed McIntyre.
Hello, Wes, son. You've gotten yourself into some trouble here, haven't you?
No comment.
Sorry, that's not gonna fly here. I'm not PC Claude. I know who you are, and I know about the thing in the basement. You're not getting out of this, so if you know what's good for you, you talk.
Should I be intimidated?
You can be whatever you like, so long as it's chatty.
And what, pray tell, should I chat about?
Let's start with the cellar, I think.
As though you can possibly understand that.
Crowhurst smiles, leaning forward.
If you're gonna call me stupid, you might want to consider your place. I'm not the one chained to a table, and I'm certainly not the one who got caught lying in a pot of sick on a big fella in the cellar. You might have had some money and power a while back, but all you have right now is the hope I'll take pity on you. So you better start talking.
McIntyre is quiet for a moment, fists clenched.
If you want any information at all, I'll thank you not to be so disrespectful. My fortunes may have temporarily downturned, but my name still carries weight, certainly more than yours.
How do you figure that?
Look at you. No decorum. No name. Just a child dressing up as a man, bumbling his way through life's torturous game. I don't think I haven't noticed the accent. Your illusionist has done a passable job, I suppose. But I know what you really are. You will always be a Liverpudlian underneath.
Brief silence. Then Crowhurst sits back in his chair, stretching. He takes a sip of his coffee, puts the mug down, and pulls a taut smirk.
Well, I suppose that'll be of great comfort to you. I guess I had to console myself with the thought of you rotting in the holding cell for the rest of your life.
Oh, I'll be living a richer, full life, dear boy, I assure you.
Come on. You can't black concrete.
We'll see.
I'm sure we will.
At that point, a seismic event occurred within Provisional Site 14. The mug of coffee shudders off the table and smashes on the floor.
The hell?
I did. Not been feeding them, have you?
Feeding? It's a pigeon with disillusion of grandeur. Why?
No.
He slams his fist on the table, and Crowhurst jumps. McIntyre takes a second, breathing steadily.
Show some respect.
Crowhurst looks at him for a moment, then leans forward, resting his chin on his fist.
Respect? For it?
McIntyre flinches.
You don't get to talk about a god like that. Not in his own house.
Interesting. And I suppose to the priest, or maybe the choir boy.
We have an arrangement.
And who arranged it? You? And no, you don't strike me as the type with the noose. Daddy's idea, was it?
My state's prospered for decades, and it's thanks to his generosity.
The state's dead in the water. I've seen the accounts. HMRC's been circling for years. The only thing keeping you from being a national laughingstock is your complete irrelevance. Not that generous, is it?
Because he's been neglected. I can't serve him by myself, but everyone else went their separate ways, said they were satisfied.
And you weren't? You fancy getting a job in the chippy, I guess.
McIntyre breathes evenly.
He provides. He always has. And you may want to ensure he doesn't stop.
Why? What'll it do?
McIntyre looks down and refuses to answer. End log. Closing statement. No further useful information has been gathered from Wesley McIntyre. He was remanded to a holding cell in Provisional Site 14 for 2 days before being transferred to Site 23, where he will remain the charge of Director Genevieve McIntyre. Addendum 5. Security feed. Study. The house's study has been repurposed as Crowhurst's office, and he sits at his desk. On his secure laptop screen is 057. As is traditional for security purposes, he is unlit.
That's all we've gotten out of him, at any rate. Has Genevieve gotten anywhere?
Not yet, but I remain optimistic. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, after all.
You get rid of the most with a fly swat.
I think your approach yielded all the success it was ever likely to.
Crowhurst scowls, then quickly wipes the expression from his face.
Of course. Sorry, sir. I may have gotten a little carried away.
Hopefully your heavy-handedness hasn't had too negative an impact on him. He always was rather wet, that boy.
You know?
Well, I knew his grandfather. We served in India together. Good man. A better man than that feckless oaf. At any rate, he'd be ashamed.
Yeah, well, I don't suppose his granddad, grandfather ever mentioned having a god in the basement making him rich?
Only when he was drunk.
Of course. Forgot how insidious O5 interrogation techniques were.
And you'd do well to remember, should you ever get a site permanently. He nearly became an 05 too, you know. 7, in fact. Wasn't up for it, I'm afraid. Of course, you need a certain je ne sais quoi to be suitable for a role like this. Some people have it, some just don't. However much of a good man they are.
Brief pause.
Do you believe him?
McIntyre. Oh, no. I believe he believes it. I also believe a pigeon believes its Lord Dices was getting it the bird seed.
Fair comment. Tell me about the play.
Well, I'm no expert, but I understand it's fairly conventional. A few wretched farmers down on their luck pray to a god who restores them to their rightful places. Everyone has a bit of a dance. Standard fare.
How complex is it?
I don't follow.
How much manpower would it require to perform? Rehearsal time?
I mean, a bit of practice, due liberties. I reckon we could get 80% of the way there, but it'd definitely be an amateur production. It takes serious money to get it anything like we're supposed to be. We're not exactly RSC, but McIntyre Sr., with the greatest of respect, sir, wasn't exactly Shakespeare.
No, that was Gore. Director Yaxley. Joseph was more Rowley.
Seriously.
The room shakes, and Crowhurst grabs the desk to steady himself. Deep within the house, cawing and flapping wings can be heard.
80% will have to do, I think.
End log. Addendum 6. SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 2. The men are stood at equidistant intervals, with shovels and hoes in their hand. They till the soil dramatically, cascading dust all about, trading places with abandon.
We are apart. We cannot harmonize. Too many men, men of us. We look to you, greatest one. Take from us our differences, make us one. Let us be we desire of all.
A blaze of white light fills the air. Enter Archon. Addendum 7. Excerpt from Acting Director Crowhurst's personal log.
Settled in. I think they're coming along fairly well so far. Office is kind of a box, but RHIP. I get the master bed jump, a bottle and good stuff. Bit of peace and quiet. Some of the staff aren't getting the not supposed to see each other thing. I keep getting emails inviting me to the pub in town. About going. I gotta touch that down with a barge pool. I'm certainly not having anyone question me up to it. Can't stay careerist. See, here's the itinerary. Martinize the water filters. She's for that west, already sick of boy then hit. Order in a bunch of props, or some rubbish equivalents, given the budget. Learn how to dance for the big tumor in the basement. Probably should have told 7 Westers and Looney. Should have known he fixated on this. Should have known better to clusterfuck with the moth in Chichester. I just hope I don't embarrass myself here.
Addendum 8. Security feed. Cellar. Music and general commotion can be heard distantly, muffled by the layers of flesh proofing the walls and ceiling. The polyps flutter and caw, a few seconds before Crowhurst bursts in. He grabs the railing and leans over at SCP-8906, nearly toppling over for a second.
Don't believe it.
Without looking away, he slides down the stairs, body pressed against the banister. When he reaches the bottom, he stops, keeping his distance.
13 new anomalies contained in a fortnight. They'd found that many in the last 5 months. Plus, the fronts in the southwest are pulling in 3 times what they normally do. Which, is a drop in the ocean, but still.
The polyps squawk at him, flapping their protuberances. Black flakes of flesh drifting down around Crowhurst. He closes his eyes and tightens his jaw, but does not move.
I'm sorry, I don't mean you disrespect. I guess there wasn't really any attachment to McIntyre then. But you get what you need, wherever you can get it, and that'll do. I suppose if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. It certainly wouldn't be that a catch to him.
SCP-8906 groans, and the house shudders slightly. Crowhurst coughs and looks down.
Nothing personal. I get here. Well, he was here for a while. I guess I'm the new McIntyre now. I guess this is what I'm meant to do with my life. He did it his whole life, right? So, just ask me now. I suppose what I have to say is,
One of SCP-8906's tendrils slithers around and up a supporting column, patiently pushing its way up into the ceiling. Plaster dust falls onto some of the polyps, painting them gray.
Thank you.
End log. Addendum 9. SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 3. The ballroom is awash in white light to sear the eyes. At center stage stands Archon, wearing a deep red robe and a porcelain-beaked mask adorned in crow's feathers, holding a rubied scepter. The men shield their eyes and groan awfully, clutching onto one another. Archon looks upon them and sighs.
How strange that I should find such terror here. I have been born broken men, full of fear, unable to help themselves, no, unwilling. You cannot hear the sun and the moon inside sing. Dearest, faithful followers, why despair? Do you really think this world so unfair, that good men with good hearts should find themselves in such dissolution, that their deep delves into themselves should provide no fortune? For you are strong. Come, all you children, commune. I will wash you clean in scalding moonlight, burn the rotten flesh from your skin this night, for all that you can be is within you.
Archon steps down from the stage and surveys his men, shaking his head with pity.
You must be willing to be born anew. Tear yourselves apart, let me reconstruct you into something worthy from what's tucked away deep. You are not yet worthy, no, you poor wasted soul. How unkind this world to punish good men whose wings now unfurled. You can live at last, each will wear a crown, so breathe deep my smoke and let yourselves drown.
Scene. Addendum 10. Excerpt from Acting Director Crowhurst's personal log.
That are 5 times over 35 days now. Apparently 65% of UK sites are reporting at least some increase in anomalies contained. Reductions in containment breaches and or reduction in expenditure. Maybe some of their expenditure can go on doing this place off. This thing's certainly growing, but it's growing into an actual structure of the house. And there's not a lot of room for such structure to gather in response. We've completely lost our bathroom at this point. Thank fuck the water filters are holding up, or we have a whole new problem. Everyone's so damn cheerful. I feel like Santa watching the elves scurry about on Christmas Eve. They're still trying to get me to the pub. I'm still not going to that town. I don't even know why they want me to. The bloody Foundation for our peace at this point. Do they need my approval too? Christ, I need a drink.
Addendum 11. SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 4. Archon takes up a torch and lights 5 coils of incense, placed at points of a pentagram at the far edges of the room. All 10 men should be stood in the middle, still for the first time in the performance.
Within you is all that you are and have been. The greatest virtues, literally unseen, love and hate and everything in between. Well, no more.
All men cry out and rejoice.
For 10 men, however worthy, can harmonize, but 10 must be one to sing unison. But wish the amic harvest. It's yours, for you know what a harvest requires, and you know what I will provide it for.
The men dance joyously around the ballroom, each completing one full circuit before returning to their original positions.
You know what I like. I like what you know. I must know you. No nuance, no discord. You must be hollow. Must be your father's. And your father's father's men you all know, and I, Father, all the while, will help you.
We are you. We are us. And no other. Father, Father. Son, Son. Brother, Brother.
Crowhurst produces the blade.
Now, you reshape yourselves in my image. Only your transformation sets you free.
A seismic event hits Provisional Site 14. Crowhurst yelps, steadying himself on the wall, and all personnel start. One of the incense coils falls to the ground, and junior researcher hurriedly removes his jacket to try and smother the flames.
What happened? Did you move?
No,
Did you fucking... Wait, whose fudge is that? It... Look, just clean up in here. For God's sake, don't burn the place down.
Crowhurst withdraws his mobile phone from underneath his robe and scurries out of the room. End log. Addendum 12. Security feed. Study. Crowhurst sits at his desk, phone to his ear. His face is ashen, and he stares into the middle distance.
How many? Do we have tabs on any of them? But I do apologize for expecting you to have some sort of contingency plans, but it's not my fucking site, is it?
He rubs the bridge of his nose as he listens.
No, I didn't mean... No, I can't imagine. I'm... How long were you and I? Yeah, I get why. No, I don't think so. No. And I'm pinning this on me. We were halfway through when it happened. We weren't doing anything differently. Look, I get you upset, but don't you dare. Hello? Don't. Fuck.
The headset clicks as he slams it down, and he sits back, chair squeaking. He reaches down and pulls open the drawer in his desk, which clinks. Above him, the tendril that is broken through the wall and runs through the center of the room quivers as the crows attached to it regard him. He eyes them, slowly and carefully, shutting the drawer.
Issue?
One of the crows snaps at another.
When I was on the phone, I didn't... This isn't on me, is it? I'm doing my best, you know. What do you want from me? I'm doing my best, you know that, right?
Provisional Site 14 shakes gently for a few seconds, and Crowhurst holds his head in his hands. End log. Closing statement. Over the next 3 weeks, 2 further containment breaches occurred across the UK, with 25 casualties and 7 anomalies lost. Acting Director Crowhurst has been officially reprimanded, and further resources sent to Provisional Site 14 to aid the performances of SCP-8906-1. Addendum 13. Provisional Site 14 required stock 050915. Extra staff for SCP-8906-1 plus assorted costuming. Was previously 15, was previously 5. Use of SCP to allow multiple performances of SCP-8906-1 by each group during the same external time period. 1 liter bottle of brandy, Napoleon brand. Tapestry featuring depictions of SCP-8906 and moments from SCP-8906-1 for exaltation. Scaffolding to reinforce ceiling in ballroom. Addendum 14. Memorandum from Acting Director Crowhurst.
Good Foker 5-5, congratulations. What a sterling work, we're on flying form, and commendations are sure to follow. Profits are soaring, the team of searches 8906 grows. We've the best staff here in the whole country, and I'm sure of that, even if I can't put a face to you. Still, that is maybe. I still know you well. I praise you with no nuance, no discord, and I do not doubt our further success. End recording. End recording. End of fucking...
Addendum 15, SCP-8906-1, Excerpt 5. The 25 men in the center of the room cheer, and Crowhurst approaches, blade held aloft. The nearest man raises his hand and takes it from him.
Your eyes, that you see nothing unknown.
Mime gouging the eyes.
Your ears, that you hear nothing fearful.
Mime piercing the eardrum.
Your tongue, that you say not unrecognized.
Mime removing the tongue.
Your head, think now only what you have thought.
Mime stabbing the head.
Your soul, that you may be full once again.
Mime gutting the...
I fucking hate tour strips. Time North gets all the attention. This place is close enough, they siphon off all the visitors without being close enough to actually be worth visiting. And it's just as bad. Beaches that promise soaring sun, that just give you all those slick seas, torrential rain. Authentic food that's just overpriced clotted cream and stones. I couldn't get the same course from the cafe in Tisco. Fascinating history of swashbuckling pirates that all just nicked from the big cities where actual interesting things happened. I don't know how anyone survives here. All falling down, how these castles look impressive, even if there's nothing left inside. Places like this, you don't even keep the facade. Not sure why I went down there today. Maybe because it's the off-season. Nobody goes to Overstore in October. I sort of assumed that the place would have shut down, and all the residents switched off until the fairground reopened. Maybe that appealed to me. There's never a moment's quiet nowadays. This one's so quiet. Anyway, I was basically right. There was a ghost town. Well, mostly. There's a place, Miranda's Miracles. Farnsworth recommended it before he got transferred. Thought I was to check it out. Trudged in, bell time, but she, Miranda. I assumed she was Miranda, but she was on the phone. She noticed me. Dumpy thing. 60s, I'd guess. I'm not sure. I've never been good with faces. Try putting them in something sweet then. I have them in a window or something. No, I know, which does work on dogs. She massaged her forehead then. Could make him pose of her. But I remember how grey she looked. The bed's in her eyes. I see does enough all day, every day. Look, love, you can only do what you can do. It's not your fault. You are... Did you break something? Alright, I'll let you go. Cash shuts in an hour. I'll be there as soon as I can, alright? Not enough. She hung up his side then. Started muttering to herself. I probably should have said something. But I didn't really care. So I just cleared my throat. Scared the shit out of her. Which I should feel bad for. But it's the first unscripted emotion I've seen in weeks. Oh, alright, my lover. Sorry, didn't see you there. She chirped up. God, I hate Bristol accents. They said, clearly, she sort of shifted. As worth she knew. Thankfully, she was a bit less chirpy when she apologized again. Asked me where I wanted, so I have to tell you it's going. She could pay attention long enough, and then she started getting ratty with me. Now this fucking matters. Why am I bothering? She was nice. Nicer than she should have been. I could see she wanted to knock my block off. But she had it together, right until she started throwing a kettle with barbed wire. I made a crack about not being able to afford a coffee machine. She apologized straight away, but I knew pissed off at a dickhead, and I know something is wrong. And I could see this was a ladder. I offered foundation. You need an instinct for a ladder. Look at where I am now with that one. There's something wrong with the water. The The tap just spat out this big white fluid. I gritted, made my eyes water. It's not usually that bad, apparently, but if it's ever that bad, there's something seriously wrong. I took the sample, saw that water bottle when she wasn't looking, but I didn't need to. We both knew what it was. We just didn't want to. She thought it was impossible. I thought it was too possible. Because there's a reservoir right near here, just over the hill. There's the water in that town below turning to bird shit. I feel like I know where that's coming from. We've been doing this for months. We've been drinking it, washing it. We ran to see she got in touch with the council and said they're very concerned. They're getting on it by doing up Bitty House. She has a grandson. He's not even old enough to have his jabs. Got another meeting with 7 tomorrow. Apparently we've contained 5 new skips since last time. He's sending them over. I've got to talk to him. We can't go on like this.
Oh? Why ever not?
He's a reasonable man, a worldly man. He knows what the right thing to do is.
The right thing for whom, dear boy?
We can do this somewhere else. Hell, we cannot do it at all. We've gone on perfectly fine this long without poisoning anyone.
I'm afraid that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unless you'd like to step down. I'm sure some young upstart would be eager to take the position.
I'm knackered. We're doing this 24/7 now. New strangers I'm not allowed to look at blooding in. And I'm the one drowning. Maybe I should step down. Maybe. Did you really think we're finished here?
Crowhurst stands atop the stage, cautiously still in the crimson lighting. He steps down the stage to the ballroom floor as he speaks.
Is this not what you asked for? I'm doing what you wanted. I'm doing my best. You know that, right? The show must go on, and what a show.
Around the ballroom, men act, over and over, overlapping into an organized cacophony. Beautiful order. Tongues severed, regrown by SCP to be severed and regrown again. All is as it should be, in perfect order. An endless cycle of betterment, worship, profit, to clearly correlate with efficiency of Foundation operations through unknown mechanisms.
You've seen it before. You'll see it again. You won't see any better. We're all the same, inside and out. Isn't that the point? However fancy the mask is, there's always someone underneath. But there doesn't have to be.
Walks in procession to his side, holding the scepter. Crowhurst smiles.
We can transcend that, free ourselves from life's torturous game. That's the point, after all, isn't it? To become something better, more worthy. Something that silly old us could never do. Who needs us all, after all, when there's so much else to fill up with?
Crowhurst takes the scepter and freezes. He lurches forward, once, twice. A thin stream of vomit forces its way through the slit in his mask, and he drops the staff, clutching at his face, but his limp fingers simply brush ineffectually over the strings branding it onto his face, and the vomit forces its way back to burn the rotted flesh from his skin this night. No matter, at this point he isn't really necessary. He continues to wrestle with himself, drowning in mask and robe, but why is he bothering? None of it fucking matters, and the house shakes violently, throwing him to the ground. A chunk of stone falls from the ceiling, tendrils still attached and spewing ichor, crushing 3 men. Fleshy crows fly from the gap. Crowhurst scrabbles at the floor through the tremors, eventually crawling to the doors, where he grabs onto the handle and is almost swung through the air. He barely pulls himself up and collapses through the doors as the revels continue behind him. I'm afraid that's just the way the house crumbles. Scene 16. Interior. Cellar. The actual structure is barely visible. He has grown to vast proportions. Tendrils wind through the wine racks, bottles shattered on the ground where they had been forced off, staining the floorboards red. Enter Crowhurst, disheveled, the beak of his mask smashed off, his chin coated in his own fluids. He staggers down the stairs, tripping halfway down and barely catching himself, swinging on the banister as it groans in protest. Blurry-eyed, he stares at the main body of him, wrapped around its pillar, and snorts, a half-smile appearing and vanishing in an instant, and a slur in his voice.
Oh, fancy seeing you here.
He totters down the remaining stairs, shoes squinching on the black meat of him, and he sways before it.
It's all going to hell. All bloody going to hell. That's what it is up there. Hell. It's not no stop.
He twitches, majestic.
They've all lost their minds, every single one of them. Or I have. Because I just don't get it. There's a town full of people drinking bullshit. A load of people, my people, good people, upstairs tearing themselves apart. At least I think they're good people. At least I think they're my people. I don't know. I don't recognize any of their faces. Still, at least I'm still here, if I ever was.
The house shakes again, and one of the few remaining bottles crashes from its rack. It should not hit Crowhurst, instead being cushioned by his flesh.
I did everything you wanted. Fucked those people in town over. This, like a coked up lunatic, I became everything you wanted. But it wasn't enough. Is that where the soul shite came from? I can't have a soul because you don't. I guess you're sort of the god we should have expected.
He twitches and gurgles. His crows flap their wings and scream his song. Crowhurst feebly grabs the wine bottle and throws it at them. They squawk and jump to avoid it before returning their gaze to him.
Well, was this what you wanted?
He pauses and blinks rapidly.
Did you want anything?
Finally, he stumbles, landing in a heap and splattering ichor around him. With a grunt, he struggles to sit upright and leans back on his gracefully accepting form. After a few moments, he breaks into a genuine smile.
You haven't understood a word I've been saying, have you?
He begins laughing hysterically, barely holding himself up. Eventually, his laughter dies, and he closes his eyes. He is still. A crow breaks off from a nearby tendril and flaps over, perching on Crowhurst's shoulder. After an experimental peck at his neck, it eyes him evenly, then caws, and the flock descends. Scene. Well, I must say I've seen my fair share of plays and, people in masks, but, not my thing. Certainly not scared of it, though. You won't catch me screaming. Anyways, thank you for listening. I've been Site Director McCallahan, and I hope to see all of you again very soon. Have a good day.